Have you ever given your time or heart to someone only to walk away feeling used, invisible, and completely drained? After 60, your time and emotional energy become more valuable than ever. It's not just about conserving energy. It's about protecting your peace of mind, your health, and your self-worth. And while helping others can be deeply rewarding, helping the wrong people can quietly ruin your life. This video isn't about turning your back on kindness. It's about recognizing the 7 types of people who take and take without giving anything in return. People who leave you feeling smaller, more anxious, or simply worn out after every interaction. If you've ever hung up the phone or ended a visit feeling worse than before it started, this video is for you. Because the truth is, the wrong people can turn your golden years into years of regret, unless you learn how to draw the line. Let's begin. Person 1. The chronic borrower. These people don't need your love, advice, or support. They just need your wallet. But they'll never admit it directly. Instead, it's just a small loan, a one-time emergency, or I wouldn't ask if I had another option. Because you're kind-hearted and have known them for years, you give. Again and again. But over time, a pattern forms. Somehow they always have a new crisis, and you always end up as the solution. No repayment, not even a thank you. It's not generosity they're after. It's dependency. And if you keep bailing them out, they never learn to stand on their own. You become their safety net. But who's protecting you? Take Bill, age 73. For years, his nephew came around whenever money was tight. Car repairs, rent, phone bills. Bill always helped. But 7 years passed and nothing changed. One day, Bill finally said no. It was hard. He felt guilty. But do you know what happened? His nephew figured it out, and Bill, he finally used that money to take care of his health. The one thing that truly needed it. Helping isn't always helpful. Sometimes saying no is the kindest thing you can do. Person number 2. The emotional leecher. This person doesn't ask for money. They don't need a ride. They don't even bring a specific request. But they'll drain you just the same. Emotionally, their lives are a constant disaster. Their problems are never ending. And somehow you have become their unpaid therapist. At first it feels like you're helping. You listen. You offer advice. You care. But what happens next? Do they ever take your advice? Ask how you're doing? Offer support back? Or do they just dump their problems on you? Disappear? And return only when there's another emotional storm? For older adults, especially after 60, this kind of emotional drain can be devastating. As your social circle shrinks, you may cling to whoever still calls, even if those calls are toxic. But emotional labor is real. When it's one-sided, it affects your mental and physical health. It can raise your blood pressure, ruin your sleep, and even weaken your immune system. Linda, 68, had a neighbor who came over almost daily. What started as friendly chats over coffee turned into long, gloomy venting sessions. Her neighbor never asked about Linda's life, never supported her in return. Eventually, Linda started dreading the doorbell. One day, she made a quiet decision to stop opening the door every time. And do you know what happened? Her peace returned. A quick pause before we continue. If you're finding these insights helpful, let me know by commenting, "I'm protecting my peace" below. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Your support helps us keep bringing you content that matters. Now let's move on to the next types of people who can quietly chip away at your joy. And guess what? She felt better, more energy, a clearer mind. Even her daughter noticed the change. Because emotional weight, just like physical weight, can crush you if you never set it down. You don't owe anyone your emotional energy, especially when they never give anything back. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, comment number 2 below so I know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button. Turn on the bell so you never miss a video that puts your well-being first. Let's move on. Person number 3. The guilt tripper. These people use one tool better than anyone else: guilt. They won't directly ask for help. Instead, they'll say things like, "Oh, I didn't think you'd forget about us," or "Must be nice having so much free time now." And suddenly you're doing something you never wanted to, just to avoid feeling like the bad guy. What makes guilt trippers dangerous isn't just what they ask for, it's how they make you feel after you say yes. There's no joy, no appreciation, just a silent message. You owed me. This kind of manipulation is especially damaging after 60. Why? Because it preys on some of the best parts of you, your sense of duty, your desire to feel needed, your wish to stay connected. And while those are beautiful qualities, in the wrong hands they become weapons. Some guilt trippers are family, some are old friends, and others barely know you. But they've figured out that your kindness is a resource they can tap into again and again. Take George, 74, from Florida. A man from his church started showing up often. At first it was simple things, a ride to the pharmacy, help with yard work. But every time George hesitated, the man would say, "I just thought Christians were supposed to help." That one sentence kept George trapped, until he realized it wasn't about faith, it was about control. Boundaries aren't rude, they're self-respect, and guilt trippers hate boundaries, because it means the free favors stop. You can be kind, without being used. You can be generous without being guilted into it. Because real generosity comes from joy, not pressure. If someone keeps making you feel like you owe them, they're not your friend. They're a user in disguise. And after 60, you don't need that. You've earned your peace. You've earned your freedom. And you deserve relationships that honor that. Person number 4, the emotional leech. Again, but expanded clearly. These people don't want your money. They don't want your time. They want something more valuable, your emotional energy. And they'll drain it until you feel like there's nothing left. You know the type. Every phone call is a crisis. Every visit becomes an hour-long therapy session. And no matter what advice you give, they never seem to improve. That's because they're not actually looking for solutions. They're looking for somewhere to unload their mess where. And you've become that place. In your younger years, maybe you had the strength to be the shoulder everyone leaned on. But now, your emotional space is sacred. You need that space for your own joy, your own peace, your own rest. But when someone constantly brings storms into your world, you end up living in their weather, instead of your own sunshine. Sometimes this person is a relative, a grown child who calls every night just to vent. Sometimes it's a friend who never ever asks how you're doing. And the hardest part? You feel guilty turning them away, because you're kind. You care, and they know that. But here's the truth. You're not their therapist. You're not their emotional dumping ground. And you are not responsible for fixing anyone else's life, especially if it comes at the cost of your own peace. Let me tell you about Helen, 68, from Colorado. Her neighbor started coming over nearly every evening. At first it was pleasant, friendly. Then it turned into long, draining rants about his health, his job, his ex-wife. Helen, trying to be polite, kept listening, until one night, she found herself dreading 6 p.m. like it was a dentist appointment. That's when she realized something had to change. So she started saying, "I'm not in the space to talk right now." And that one sentence gave her life back. And guess what? The world didn't end. Her peace came back. Her energy returned. And that heavy cloud she'd been carrying for months, it finally lifted. Because boundaries aren't cruel. They're clarity. And emotional leeches hate clarity. Because it forces their draining behavior to stop. So if someone in your life always leaves you feeling more tired, more anxious, or more emotionally heavy than before, take note. That's not connection. That's emotional labor. Person number 5. The manipulator in disguise. They seem charming at first, friendly, even generous. But listen closely, because behind every compliment, every kind gesture, there's a hidden string attached. And once that string is wrapped around you, they'll tug it whenever they need something. These are the kinds of people who call you wise or tell you, "You're the only one I trust." It makes you feel appreciated, at first, but that praise, it's not genuine, it's bait. Because right after the compliment comes the request. A small favor, a ride, help with errands. And before you know it, their needs have become your routine. And when you try to pull away, suddenly you're not the person they thought you were. Suddenly you're the bad guy. But here's the thing. Manipulators rarely shout. They whisper. They use subtle guilt, like, I didn't think I'd have to explain it to you, or I guess I just care more than you do. It's quiet, but it cuts deep, and before long you're doing more than you ever agreed to, just to avoid letting them down. Older adults often become targets for this kind of manipulation, especially those who are kind, generous, or just plain lonely, and it's easy to miss. Because manipulation doesn't always look like manipulation. It often looks like being helpful. But ask yourself, do they give as much as they take? Or do they always set things up so they win and you lose? Person number 6, the always in crisis drainer. This is the person whose life is a constant emergency. They never seem to have a peaceful day. Every phone call is a panic. Every message, a disaster. Every visit, a storm. And somehow, you always end up being their emotional anchor. At first it might feel good, to be needed, to be the one they turn to. But over time, their constant chaos becomes a weight on your back. You carry their stress, their anxiety, their mess. Even if they don't realize it, they've started living off your stability. And what's worse, they never stop. There's always a new problem. Their rent is late, their job is on the line, their partner just left them. Again. Their health is suddenly in crisis, and through it all they expect you to stop what you're doing and be available. Now don't get me wrong, we all go through tough times. Being there for someone you love is a beautiful thing. But when someone's life is always in meltdown mode, when their drama starts disrupting your peace again and again, that's not helping, that's absorbing. You're not a rescue team. You're not their emotional airbag. You're a person with your own needs, your own life, your own peace to protect. But there's a difference between someone going through a rough season and someone who turns every season into a storm. They don't just need your support. They expect you to walk through the fire with them every single time. And here's the truth. In your later years, your energy isn't unlimited. Your time, your rest, your peace of mind. These things matter now more than ever. If someone's constant chaos is leaving you anxious, exhausted, or emotionally drained, they're not just hurting themselves. They're slowly hurting you too. Take Karen. Age 74. She had a childhood friend named Lisa who began calling every day, sometimes multiple times a day. At first, Karen listened patiently. Lisa was lonely, and Karen understood. But as days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the calls became heavier. Lisa talked endlessly about betrayal, health scares, and family drama. Karen started losing sleep. She stopped going on her daily walks. Her mood changed, and she didn't even realize it until her daughter gently said, "Mom, you're not yourself anymore." That's the danger. These people may not mean to harm you, but that doesn't mean you're obligated to sacrifice your own well-being for their ongoing storm. You are not a rescue boat for someone else's permanent crisis, and it's okay to say, "I care about you, but I also need to take care of myself." If that drives them away, then maybe, just maybe, the relationship was never truly balanced to begin with. Protect your peace. Because at this stage in life, peace is one of the most valuable things you have. If you're still with us and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 6 below to let us know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we invite you to do so and turn on the bell. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful, empowering content. Now, let's move forward. Person number 7, the one who keeps you stuck in the past. This is the person who always brings up the good old days, always reminding you of who you used to be, what you used to do, and sometimes what they think you can't do anymore. It may sound like nostalgia, but over time, their words start to feel less like memories and more like chains. They say things like, "You were so sharp back then," or, "Remember when you could do it all on your own?" And when you try to grow or explore something new, they pull you back with, "You're too old for that now," or "What's the point at your age?" They may not realize it, or maybe they do, but that kind of talk steals your confidence. It keeps you from trying new things, meeting new people, or simply believing that good days still lie ahead. They freeze you in an outdated version of yourself and make you feel guilty for wanting more. This mindset is especially harmful in older age because the stories we tell ourselves, and the ones others feed us, shape what we believe is possible. If someone keeps repeating that your best years are behind you, you might start to believe it, and that belief can quietly drain your joy, your growth, your hope. Think about Harold, 79. He used to play chess in the park, but after a stroke, his hands weren't as steady. His old friend George said, "You should give it up. You're not who you used to be." So Harold listened. He stayed home. He gave up the game he loved, and the world moved on without him. Until one day, a stranger invited him to a local community game night. No pressure, just fun. Harold gave it a try, and he laughed more in that one evening than he had in months. All because someone finally saw who he could be, not just who he used to be. Here's the truth. Aging isn't shrinking. It's not fading away. It's evolving. Anyone who tries to trap you in outdated definitions, no matter how sweet their tone, is not helping you grow. They're holding you back. You deserve relationships that support your present and invest in your future, not ones that keep you locked in the rearview mirror. Final thoughts. Those are the 7 types of people you should never feel guilty for walking away from, especially in your later years. This isn't about bitterness. It's about boundaries. It's about choosing peace, purpose, and personal growth over guilt, pressure, and outdated roles. Growing older doesn't mean becoming weaker. It means becoming wiser. And wisdom knows when it's time to let go. Not out of anger, but out of love for your own life. You've spent decades giving, your time, your care, your energy. You've been the helper, the listener, the fixer. But now it's your time to protect your spirit, to stop carrying people who wouldn't carry you, to walk away from those who drain you, guilt you, disrespect you, or simply can't see who you've become. Some will call it selfish, but self-care is not selfishness. It's strength. And it's the kind of strength that allows you to finally enjoy the life you've worked so hard for. You've earned the right to peace, to healthy, respectful relationships, to a life that lifts you, not weighs you down. And if anyone ever questions that, just remember this: your life is your own, and you don't owe it to anyone who doesn't respect it. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one insight you're taking with you from this video. How will you apply it in your life? Your thoughts matter to us. We read every comment, and they inspire us to keep going. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who may need to hear it. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.